Here's a tip on performing if you're going to be playing for an open mic or in a gig or anything like that. I usually tell people, a lot of my students, I'll tell them to practice, obviously, practice. I read somewhere, it was a bluegrass mandolinist that actually said this, that they practice the song so they're at it at 150%. That's far beyond perfect. Because they know when they get up on that stage, they'll probably get it at 98%. And that 2%, no one's really going to hear that big of a difference. I once had a student of mine I saw at I think it was at the Swannanoa Gathering, a great workshop, a great guitar camp, music camp. And he came up to me and he said, "Toby, I don't know what happened, but at the open mic last night, I just blew this one passage. One passage. I was trying to play it and I just blew it." I said, "Well, obviously you practice it." He says, "I practiced it 100 times perfectly at home. Perfectly." I said, "Oh, okay." And he says, "And then in my dorm room before the open mic, I practiced it 7 more times. It was perfect." I said, "Great." He says, why did I mess it up?" I said, "How many times did you get to practice it in front of people?" See, that's the key. You can use an experience of playing it in front of people or any time when the pressure is on as part of your practice. You can do that at an open mic. And an open mic, people are usually a little bit more forgiving. There are other performers too that may be just as nervous. That's a great place to practice that, get that, put the pedal to the metal. Really temper the iron is playing it in front of, say, an open mic before you may do it in a more formal setting. Another fun way that I've found to really hone in on something is to actually there's an email, as to actually make a recording of yourself. Make a recording of yourself practicing. When that red light goes on when you're recording, believe it or not, there's a little bit of pressure there. And you have to learn how to work through that pressure. That's always a good thing. Play it in front of a family member or one of your friends. That's also a way of putting the pressure on your practice. It really does, it really works. Because when you do get up in front of many people, you've already tempered yourself to handle that bit of pressure. It really does do wonders for doing it. The other thing about recording yourself is that I always find that when I listen back to it, I may catch little things, not so much mistake, well, sometimes they're mistakes, or little things that I think I could improve on that I wouldn't have noticed when I was just practicing. Although you're listening to everything you practice, the recording never lies. And sometimes when you're sitting back and listening, you may catch something that you might not have caught before. And you make a note of it. And then when you're practicing, get to that spot and bring that little note back in your head and see if you can work on improving that part. These are all great ways to put the pressure onto your practice and to make you a much better player when you actually get out in front of people. And if you do happen to make that mistake in front of everybody, don't stop. Don't do that. Just keep playing. I guarantee you, if you do this, people are going to remember that more than they're going to remember hearing a little flub note. That flub note's going to go in the wind. But if you make a big deal out of it, not so good. So just keep playing through it when you perform. When you practice, now really work on it.